Today, I would like to share my miscarriage story. And my intentions in sharing this story is to heal anyone that has forgotten who they are and to heal myself. Because everything that we experience is to help us remember who we are. No matter how great or no matter how horrific it is, everything happens for you to remember who you are. So in me sharing my story, I wanted to offer that to any of you. And I also wanted to share my story because I'm a public figure. People are always asking me about personal things in my life, and I don't want to be that person on social media that shows you one side and it's perfect and everything is like, yeah. But then when the tough times come, I close off. I don't want to be that person. I want to let you know, and I want to remind you that I'm human as well, and I go through things, and this is how I overcome them, or this is how I'm handling them. So I want to be authentic with you as much as I can, but still have my boundaries. But people are always asking if I'm pregnant, or or do we want more children? And I just want to share with you in this part of my journey that we have been trying and not necessarily focused on it, but we're definitely open to it. And this is something that has happened. So I want to put that out there for anyone that ever thinks to ask a woman, do you want to have more children? Are you pregnant? You don't know what this person is going through or what's happening. So it's just best just to mind your business and hope everything is okay. But if you can't mind your business, just know that this happens to a lot of people. And so how I wanted to let you guys know that I was pregnant, I was going to tell you on Mother's Day. I was going to tell you on Mother's Day because I knew for a while that I was expecting, and I was going to surprise you. I didn't even tell my mom because I was like, I want to surprise everyone that we're finally expecting a child. But I do want to tell you this isn't my first miscarriage. Last year, I miscarried, and it was around COVID, and we didn't know we were going to have a place to stay because the owner had just came back and he didn't need us for the Airbnb. And so when we found out we were pregnant, we was like, oh crap. We definitely were not prepared for another baby at that time. But I think that miscarriage, I only carried the baby maybe less than a month because the miscarriage was definitely not as horrendous as this one was, okay? And I remember bleeding for like 2 months after that, and that's when I knew I wasn't pregnant. So then this time, I got pregnant again. And I knew instantly that I was pregnant. I'm very in tune to my body. I didn't go to the doctor. At first, I didn't even get a pregnancy test. Me and my friend, we were talking, and she just found out she was pregnant. And I was like, well, I think I'm pregnant too. So we both were like, oh my God, we're pregnant at the same time. But she couldn't understand why I wasn't excited about it because a part of me knew, and I'm going to get to this, but a part of me knew that I wasn't going to be able to keep the baby. Like, I just knew. But I didn't want to get too excited. I didn't want to get too attached, but she didn't understand why I wasn't as happy as she was. I was just like, nah. And I let her know what happened. She was like, damn, I didn't even know you went through that. I was like, yeah, well, it's nothing to really talk about. I had a miscarriage last year. And I just told her I'm just going to take one day at a time, and I'm really not going to let anyone know. And so my plan was I was going to come on here. I was going to give me an ultrasound because I was going to go to the doctor, get an ultrasound. And then I was going to surprise my mom for Mother's Day. And then I was going to surprise you guys. And so y'all know I'm telling the truth. This is the pregnancy stick that my neighbor actually gave me because she was just like, can you please just take a pregnancy test? I was like, you know what? It's been almost 3 months and I haven't taken a pregnancy test. I said, I know I'm pregnant, but my last period was in February. So that should give you like a calculation of how far along I was. And yeah, so this was the pregnancy test, the 2 lines it means that we were expecting. Um, so that night, well, before that, let me go back to that. So I knew when I lost the baby. I knew. I didn't know exactly the day, but I had morning sickness. Like I was just nauseous. I just didn't feel good. I couldn't exercise. And at one point, you guys saw that I wasn't doing any videos. If any of y'all pay attention to my content, I wasn't doing no videos because I was sick. I was like, oh my gosh. And that lasted for a good maybe 2 weeks. And then after that, the sickness, everything went away. I was back to normal. I was able to do videos again. I was able to exercise again. And my appetite was starting to like ease up a little bit. And someone had asked me like, how are you feeling? I said, I feel fine. I said, I don't even feel like I'm pregnant. And it's like, really? I was like, yeah. I said, I really don't. But then when I took the pregnancy test, it still was going to show that it was positive. But I knew something wasn't right because my stomach wasn't growing. I didn't feel nauseous. Like I just knew because I was pregnant before, and I just knew what to expect. But I know sometimes with your second, third child, it could be different. The sickness isn't as bad as the first. So, but I knew something wasn't right, but I was just being hopeful and just allowing things to unfold the way that they were supposed to unfold. So, so I would say maybe like the night before the night, I started cramping. Yeah, I started cramping and then I started bleeding, but it was just a little bit. And I had told my neighbor and she was like, oh, that's fine because I bled a lot. I thought I was miscarrying and I wasn't. It was just a hemorrhage. She was like, so if it's just a little cramping and just blood and no chunks, she said, maybe it's nothing. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, but I knew, I knew that, I said, this is, my body is like refusing this. So that night, the next night I went to bed and we were sleeping in a tent because we now sleep in a tent. And I woke up because I was cramping really bad. And then that's when I knew. I was like, oh, I'm miscarrying. And I woke Rambo up. And Rambo's my husband for anybody that doesn't know. I woke him up and I said, I think I'm losing the baby. And he was like, are you sure? And I sat up and blood just rushed down. Like it just rushed down. And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. And I said, well, I'm going to go to the house and, figure this out. And he was like, you want me to go with you? And I was like, nah, just stay here with Zen. Zen is our toddler, for those that don't know. And I said, stay here with Zen. And I'll just, have to just wait for the baby to come out. Because, like I said, by the time, I think I was about 3 months. If my last period wasn't until February, it had to be at least almost 3 months. So I went to the house and sure enough, there was blood, like there was this blood everywhere. And I just want to let you guys know that this is not going to be a nice story. So if you're queasy or if you get offended, you might want to leave because it's very graphic. And I'm going to do my best not to share everything, but I kind of want to just give y'all an understanding of what took place. And so I go to the house and there, of course, I look down, blood everywhere. And so I was like, okay. And so I'm waiting, for things to start passing. And it finally, it was a lot, y'all. The first time I was like, okay, I got in the shower because I was just like, okay, the blood is a lot, but me not realizing how far along I was, it was just the beginning. So it was just like 2:00 in the morning. It was 2:00 in the morning. All of this is happening. And I texted my friend and I told her, I was like, I lost the baby, And I wanted to be communicative because that's the thing with healing. The reason why it's hard to heal because you don't want to talk about it. And I realized with me, I have to talk about it. I can't hold on to it. I can't wallow in it. I got to talk about it. So as soon as I realized, I texted her. I was like, hey, I lost the baby. And so she was like talking me through. We were, because I know wherever she was, it was later. And so me and her were just talking and texting and stuff. And I told her I'm okay. I just want to have someone to talk to while I'm up here by myself. And I get in the shower and, cleaning myself. And then I come back and I'm thinking everything all good. Then the next contraction happened, and then I run into the bathroom. It happens again, and I took about 2 showers by this time, y'all, because I'm thinking, oh, this is all I have to do. So then by the second time, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't keep doing this. This is a lot. But I was still okay. I was still cool, right? I was still cool. So the third time is when it really hit me, because I got up, and this time the blood came out. Like, I just broke, my water broke, and the baby came out. And it was big enough for me to know it was a baby. And this is making me very vulnerable and exposed, because I never experienced anything like this before. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, because when you go to the doctor, they do everything for you. Like, if you deliver your baby, you don't have to touch it. But this time I was like, it was me by myself, and I touched it, and I just started crying. I just started crying, because it wasn't that I wasn't accepting of what was happening. It was because I realized I had attached myself to a dream that wasn't going to happen. I attached myself to thinking that Zen is going to have another sibling. He's going to be a big brother. I'm going to have another baby. It could either be a boy or a girl, and we're growing our family. And I got attached to that. And then I just started, and the blood was just everywhere, y'all. It was crazy how much blood this poured out of me, blood fluid or whatever. And I just started feeling guilt and shame and inadequate. And I just felt all of this, like, something's wrong with me. What did I do? And I made myself wrong. And all of this moment, and I felt for the pain for every woman that has went through this. Every woman that will not be able to go through, I felt it just by holding that baby in my hands. It was like I was just like that, and and I just broke down in a puddle of blood, and just felt all of this stuff. All of this was just rushing through me, right? And something in me was like, no, this is not true. This is a story you made up. You've got attached to the story. You got attached to the story of what this baby could have been. You got attached to the judgment that if people found out, this is what they would say. The judgment you have on yourself. There's no reason to be guilt and shame. This is life. This happens. This is how this baby chose to manifest itself. You didn't do anything wrong, and I just picked myself up and went to the bathroom, and I sat on the toilet, and all of this fluid, all of this stuff just started pouring out, and the baby went in the toilet, and it was too much for me to just bear, and I fell over. I fell, because by this time, y'all, I was about to go unconscious, and I fell back, and I hit my head on the sink. And I fell and just fainted. And I went unconscious for a brief second. And I woke up screaming because I was so in pain, because my head, it was just like throbbing. And I screamed. And later on, my neighbor, she told me that she heard me, but she didn't want to, like, intrude because she thought Rainbow was over here. But I just screamed, and I couldn't move. And, like, I could just feel just the blood coming out of me. And I just found some type of strength to pick myself up, to crawl to the couch, because I was delirious. I was losing blood. I hit my head. I just didn't know what was happening, but I got enough strength to get to the couch. And I said, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go. And everybody knows you don't go to bed once you get a concussion, but I was tired. I was like, I can't do this. I said, I can't do this. I said, I don't know what's happening. And I got on the couch. I was able to turn the light off. I got on the couch, and I was just going to go to sleep. And my body, I felt like I was leaving my body. Like, I could feel my body crystallizing. I was so cold. and I was shaking, and I couldn't breathe, and something wasn't right, and I just felt my body like it was just crystal. That's the only way I could think. It was just crystallized, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I said, "Am I dying?" I was like, "Am I dying? Like, what's happening?" And I called Rambo, and thank God Rambo answered the phone because I knew his phone was on silent, and I knew they were asleep. And I told Rambo, I said, "You got to come up here." I said, "Something's not right." And he's like, "Okay," and he brought the baby, and Zen was he came in there, and I was just laying on the couch just shivering because I thought I was about to die. I thought this was it. And Zen came up and he sat beside me, and he just put his hand on my shoulder. And he didn't say nothing. Zen just sat there, and he didn't say nothing. He just looked at me and smiled, and he put his hand on my shoulder. And Zen is 2 years old, y'all, so he don't know what's happening, and he just put his hand on my shoulder. And so me and Rambo was talking, and I was telling him what was happening. And then I told Rambo, I said, "I think I need to go back into the bathroom, but I can't move. Can you help me?" And he didn't realize what was going on. And I started just apologizing to Rambo. I was like, "I'm sorry." I said, "I'm sorry." And he was like, "Why?" I said, "Because I can't, this keeps happening." And he was like, "No, there's no reason to be sorry." And so he get me up, and I'm trying to walk to the bathroom, and I said, "Okay, you're going to have to hold me." And so then he set me up, and then just more stuff just start coming out. And this time I was like, I can't even sit on the toilet. And then he didn't realize how weak I was, and he left me on the toilet, and I fell over and passed out. And I didn't know how long I was passed out, but he said he called my name at least 3 times. And then when I came to, I just screamed. And y'all, I don't know if you ever been unconscious, but for me, when I was unconscious, it wasn't black. I was somewhere else. I had already traveled somewhere else. My mind was already with some other people. I don't remember, because when Rambo was screaming my name, I came back to it. It scared me. So I completely forgot where I was at, but I was somewhere else. And I just remember being around like other people and talking to them. And so then he had to carry me back to the couch, and this time I had to go to the bathroom. And then he had to carry me back, and then I fell over, and I passed out again, and this time I couldn't move. Like I couldn't move. And I was just telling him, I said, "Rambo," I said, "I think I'm going to die. I think I'm dying." I said, "I think I'm dying," because I was in so much pain, and I kept leaving my body. Like my mind just kept leaving, and I was like, I'm dying." I said, "Rambo, I'm dying." And he was like, "No, you're not. No, it's not time." I was like, "I'm dying." I was like, "I think it's time." And he was like, "No, it's not. It's not. It's not time. It's not time." And and then he put a blanket over me, and and I realized that I wasn't dying, but I was ready. It was like a point, I wasn't resisting, but I could feel myself just letting go, because it was just too much. And I just remember laying there, and I had blood and poop. I had just all kind of shit on my legs and my feet. And Zen came up, got a towel, and started cleaning my feet. Zen didn't, y'all, the whole time Zen's watching all of this, he's sitting on the couch. He didn't say anything. He's just like watching it. And then when he saw me laid out and had blood and stuff all over my feet, he came up, got in the drawer, and got like a cloth, and just started cleaning my feet, because he saw that all that stuff was on me. And I thought that was just so beautiful, like in that moment, how Zen could be there with me. So it wasn't something that I was going through. It was something that we were experiencing together. Zen was concerned, but he was definitely, yes, he's a Scorpio. He definitely was prepared for that, and, and after that experience, it finally was over. And we just rested, and the next day, I was thinking about everything, and it was Mother's Day and everybody, and I was just like, man, I wonder how the women feel that they may not ever become mothers. I wonder how the women feel that went through what I've went through. And at first I wasn't going to say anything. I said, but no, I said, I'm going to say something. I'm going to let people know what happened, and I'm not going to be ashamed of what happened. And I want people to know this is what happened. Like, and don't get so caught up in a day. Like, appreciate every moment. Appreciate your mother every moment, And, but at the same time, don't make yourself feel inadequate because you're not one to someone physically, and that's what I had felt in that moment, that I felt inadequate, right? And I want to tell the women that aren't able to carry a child or has not been able to carry a child full term, you're not inadequate. There's a reason for everything. There's a divine reason for everything. And the reason why I can come to you guys and talk about this so soon is because I know my purpose. I know the reason why this happened to me and this continues to happen to me is because it's not a part of my purpose to have all these children. Not yet anyways, right? And I have some notes because to be a mother, it is a beautiful gift. It is how we connect to the divine. It's a reflection of the earth. But just because you can't bear a child, it doesn't mean you are less feminine and that you can't mother and nurture something else. And I see that a lot of women, they really desire to be a mother. They want that so bad. And if they don't have it, they feel like there's something wrong with them. And there's nothing wrong with you. It just means there's a purpose for your life in another way. And I see women going to fertility clinics, getting surrogates, like doing all this, taking all these drugs that are so unnatural because you are more focused on what you're wanting instead of what you're needing. And some women are successful in that. But when you are in tune to nature, you know that that is not the divine way of doing anything. It's not divine to try to like mimic nature, And I know this woman, she can't have children. She can't have children. And instead of her feeling sorry for herself or going that route, putting all that energy in to see if she can get a child, she decided to mother something else. She decided to create a business that is going to help other people. She decided to nurture her gifts and her talents that was going to better the world in another way. In her business, she became a millionaire. In her business, this is a black woman. She became a millionaire because she put her mothering energy into something that could help other people. Because that's really, as a mother, what you're here to do. You're here to have children, and you're here to make the world a better place through your children. And just because you can't have children, it doesn't make you a bad person, because there's a lot of bad people out here having kids. And you can sit here and blame yourself. You can sit here and be like, well, if I ate right, if I did this, or what about this? No, there's a reason why it didn't happen. Look at the person that you're with. Should you be reproducing with this person that you're with? Right? Because a lot of us been in these relationships with people that we stayed too long, and the only reason why you're there is because of a child. And so that could be a situation you want to look at, like, am I in the right place for my purpose? And see, I have a child already, and that's Zen. And I knew Zen was here for a purpose based on everything that we went through together. Zen there's a reason for his life beyond me, right? This is what Zen looked like. For those that don't know, this is what I look like when I gave birth to my first child. I was malnourished, I was skinny, and I was depleted, okay, and exhausted. And I gave birth to my child without any hospitals, without any doctors, without any medical treatment. This is what I look like giving birth to my child. And then this is what my child looked like when he was born. He could have either been malnourished, he could have been a preemie, I don't know. And when I was there with this group that I was a part of, we almost killed him. I'm going to tell you that right now. You want to know how? Because we were trying to do a lotus birth, and none of us knew how or took the time to do a lotus birth. So anyone knows that a lotus birth is when the umbilical cord is still attached to the baby, and then you have the placenta. Well, that's raw flesh. So you're supposed to dry it out. And what we were doing every day, we were wetting the placenta, reactivating the flesh. So he had rotten flesh on him every day, and we're just wetting it and patting it. And then it started to get infected. But did you know that Zen never got an infection because of it? And it was like, it was the worst smell, y'all. You would think somebody was dead in the room, and it was rotting. That flesh was rotting off of his body. And he was okay. And then where I was so skinny and malnourished, I don't even know if he was really getting milk from our breast. I don't know. And then when we left that group and went to Mexico City, I was sick. I was throwing up, couldn't barely walk, and we made it. And you want to know why we made it? It's because he had a purpose to still be here. It didn't matter what no one said. It didn't matter what condition we were in. Zen was resilient, and he knew he had something more that he had to do with his life. And I would say that, and this is what he looks like now for anybody that doesn't know. This is him at 2 years old. He's never been to the doctor. He's never had any vaccine shots. He's never been sick, and he's beautiful. He's getting big every day. And I'm very thankful because I trusted in nature. I trusted in my body. I knew the truth. I was prepared for anything, and I wasn't going to let anything stop me from not living the truth. And this is what happened. So with the baby that didn't come full term, it still had a purpose because it did take form. It did take shape. It did have a purpose. And I want to thank each and every one of you that reached out to me and sent me a message. But the one thing that a lot of you were saying to me that you were sorry, and that you were sorry for my loss. And of course, that's what people say when something like this happens. That's the story we get attached to, because the baby died or somebody died. You're sorry, and there was a loss. But there was no loss. There was no loss at all, because this baby did take shape and form. Now, it may not have came all the way the 9 months, but it definitely was real. And it definitely came into my life at the time it needed to come into my life, to remind me, to make me remember who I was and what I'm here to do. And the clarity that this child, this fetus, has given me, because there's nothing lost. All is transferred, because remember, you are energy. Everything is energy. And that's the thing you always have to keep in your mind. Everything is energy. So this is how I look at death. I don't lose anyone. Their energy is just transformed. I didn't lose anything. If anything, I gained something out of this experience. And like I said, what the loss is, what the sorrow is that you have an ideal in your mind how something is going to happen. It's the expectation that's lost. I had an expectation. We had an expectation, and it didn't happen. So because you hold on to the expectation too long, then that's where disappointment comes in. But because of my purpose, and because of me knowing my purpose, I understood that I wasn't going to be able to have this baby, full term. I already knew it. I knew that it was going to happen. So the reason why Zen came into my life is because it was time for me to change the course of my journey. Like where I was at when Zen was born, I didn't need to be there anymore. So when Zen came, he came to change the course so I could do something else. So with this child, it's the same thing. This child came to me and was like, okay, you need to start taking what you're doing seriously. Because when I got pregnant, I stopped doing readings, I stopped doing classes, I stopped doing videos, I stopped. And I can't do that. Not at the time that we're in and the place that I'm at in my life. I don't have time to waste. So that's why the baby came to me and was just like, it could be taken away from you that easy, because it's not in my purpose to be having all of these kids. And how do I know? How do I know that? Because you must know yourself. And I want to tell this to any woman that has experienced this. There's a reason why you cannot have children. It's because your purpose is greater than that. You are not here for yourself. You are here for others. Now, partly the reason why I had Zen is because he was a part of that purpose. And Zen used Rambo and I as portals to come through to fulfill whatever purpose that he has here. But my purpose is for humanity. My purpose is not for myself. Now, my North Node is in, anybody that knows astrology, my North Node is in the 11th house, which means my South Node is in the 5th house. North Node is about movements, groups, friendships, okay, causes, humanity. Fifth house is about children, creativity, self-expression, pleasure. That's my South Node. North Node is what I need to focus on in this lifetime. My South Node will help me balance that. So that's why I was able to have Zen, because he is a part of my purpose. He inspires the creativity. But that's all I needed. That's all I needed. Because you know who decided not to have children based on her purpose? Oprah. Oprah said the reason why she never had children is because she knew her life had a greater purpose, and it would have been selfish of her to have children. She would have not been able to be who she is at the capacity of how she helped the world if she would have had children, because children is a great responsibility. And unfortunately, a lot of people that have children do not understand that. And that's why we're walking around now with childhood wounds, trauma, generational curses. It's because children are very sacred. They're the purest form of what God is, because they have not been tainted until we taint them. But because we don't pay attention, and because we have not done the healing work, we bring in all of these children, repeating the curses, the traumas, the karma, not being aware. So I'm very aware of myself. I know myself. You got to know yourself too. And the reason why you're hurt, the reason why you feel inadequate is because you forgot who you were. Okay? It may not be your purpose to have children, but you are here to mother and nurture the world. But it's time for you to figure out what that is. And the best way that I learned that for myself was through astrology. Astrology helped me understand myself. So regardless if I go through any trauma, regardless if I go through any adversity or obstacles, I know myself and I remember who I am, and nothing's greater than me. And yeah, I might shed a tear, or I might get upset, and I might yell and scream, but at the end of the day, I know what this is. I know what the truth is. I know what I'm here for. So with my North Node being in the 11th house, I'm not here for my children. I'm here for other people's children. So what's other people's children? It's you. I'm here for you. I'm here for you guys. I'm here to be a divine vessel of light for you to remember who you are, and that is God. And to tell you there is nothing greater than you. No matter what you go through, no matter what you lose, no matter what hurts you, don't forget who you are. See, it doesn't take time to heal. It's a choice. You choose to heal. And the only way you can change your mindset is when you change how you live your life. See, healing takes certain actions, and when you start moving and living in a certain way, you're healing yourself. That is why you change your diet. That is why you change the people you are around. That is why you change what you do. That is why you change your environment, because you're healing yourself. And once the body is healed, the mind then can be healed, and then you can start seeing things for what it truly is. You can start seeing yourself for what it truly is. And anything that you go through, you know you'll be able to overcome it. But your life is a testimony. Everything that happens to you is a testimony. And that's what I realized. In order for me to help you, to be of service to you as a human being, I have to go through certain things. I have to go through the struggles. And this was it for me. This was it. I was completely vulnerable, but I did not allow that moment to make me forget who I was. I was open. I was open to death. I embraced death. And a part of me died that night, but a part of me came alive. It came alive. And I want to thank this spirit that was in me. I want to thank it. I want to thank the spirit, whoever the spirit was that chose me. I want to thank you. I want to thank you. Because we have to have compassion for one another. I have compassion for any woman that has been through this. I want to welcome you to let go of the shame or the guilt. To think something is wrong with you when it's not. It's not time. It's not time. And it's okay. But your time is very sacred. So what can you do at this time that can benefit another? What can you do in this time to remember who you are? And to remember that you are love, you are light, you are God, you are capable. You are so capable. As a divine woman, you are so capable of the love that you have within you, of the creativity, of the joy. You're so capable. So don't let one setback defer you and keep you in the dark when you have so much more to give. But the only way that you can really know that is that you have to know yourself. You have to take time to get to know who you are. You know, take the time to do the healing. But remember, it's a choice. Take the time to live your life. There's still life in you, regardless. It's still life. But you're here for a reason. And with me, the reason I'm here, like I said, I'm here for humanity. Everything that I've experienced, that's why I get on camera and I share my life with you. I share everything. I share my experiences. I share my knowledge, my wisdom, and I'm opening myself to learning more. Because I don't know everything and I don't have to. But that's what I'm here to do. And also with my chart, I have a lot of fourth house. I got like at least 4 planets in the fourth house. And the fourth house represents your inner child because the fourth house is your family, home. It's a soulful house. And what I've learned is that the child I'm here to take care of is my inner child, because I got a lot of inner child wounds that I need to heal and make peace with. So that's the child that I'm really focused on, is that inner child. And that's the work you've seen me over the past few years doing. I've been taking care and nurturing and mothering my inner child. That's it. And when you can do that and really connect with that inner child and heal it and love it, then you might end up getting pregnant. But you don't understand that your children are you. So if you have not done the healing work, if you are not aware of yourself, all you're doing is reproducing yourself. And that is where these generational curses come from. It's because it's generational trauma, generational wounds. And this past year, me and my mother, we healed our generational curses. And one of our generational curses is abandonment. My grandmother, my mother, and me all have the wound of abandonment. My grandmother got abandoned by her mother because she got killed. My mother felt that my grandmother abandoned her because she was taking care of everybody else's kids and not her. And then my mother abandoned me when I was 3. And then when I had Zen, I almost abandoned him. But I broke that curse. I broke it. So that's the work you have to do. And if you find yourself continually losing your child and not being able to carry your child, you've got to go within and look, like, what do I need to heal? But then also, what am I here to do? It's something, obviously it's something else I need to do, and it's not this right now. It definitely opened my eyes. It definitely showed my strength, for sure. And I'm just very thankful. I'm just very thankful for the life, for the position that I was given. And I hope that I brought any clarity, healing, peace to anyone that has been through this and that is going through this. Okay? A miscarriage doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Okay? That's not what it means. That child had its purpose, it fulfilled it. But it's time for you to awaken to your purpose. What is your purpose? What are you here to do? And I know so many of you want to be a mother, but that may not be in your purpose, and that's okay. But you definitely can mother an idea. You can mother a business. And there's a lot of children out here that need to be adopted. You can mother them if you want to. But there's so much that the world is needing and wanting that maybe it can only get it from you. So don't focus on what you don't have. Be thankful for what you do have and where you are. And just open yourself to that divine love. And remember who you are. You got this. I love you. Stay balanced.